Anyway, so we can't be all that surprised that the son is involved now too.
Well, I can't say that it surprises me that the fact that they're involved. What surprises me is the fact that they're so completely bungling and stupid with regard to it. That's what surprises me.
That shouldn't really surprise you either. They just thought
Probably not, but still, it's like pretty bad.
it is pretty bad, but that was kind of always been his MO. He's always been bungling. He's never quite known what he's doing. All of his appearances on all of the TV shows and like Phil Donahue, and he was always a bungling mess. What's more egregious than the news that about Donald Trump Jr., because you were kind of to accept that, but to expect that, but what's more worrisome is his meeting with Putin.
Well, yes, but everything Donald Trump does, I think, can be classified as worrying. I guess there's various degrees of worry.
Because him wanting to set up a cyber security partnership with
yes,
Russia.
I know, really, that was precious beyond words.
I can't. Yeah, no, it's not precious. It's fucking scary, is what it is. I mean, and then for him to just say, "Let's move past. Let's just get over the fact that they interfered in our elections." I mean, I don't remember which news outlet it was, but there was one caster that said Donald Trump has neither the ability or desire to be the leader of the free world.
And that's probably extraordinarily true.
It's more than true. He never wanted this job. I don't even know why he ran for office. Once again,
I think it was basically, I think their original goal was to use the whole campaign and the whole notoriety stemming from it as the beginning of setting up their own media network. They
recently
even tested it on Facebook during the campaign, something along like that. But I don't think they expected him to win. That's the thing.
His Republican allies in the Senate are destroying healthcare. What do we think his odds of impeachment are now?
At this point, oh God. To me, I vacillate on that every other week. Because last week when the three of us had dinner, I could have sworn that he was going to be in there for the full 4 years. Now, after this, which Trump Jr. essentially, for all intents and purposes, admitted to a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who knows? I mean, there's only so much that the Republican Party as a whole is going to tolerate before they weigh their own political well-being versus Trump. And eventually, if the scales tip too much against him, they will go after him. That's just a matter of political survival at that point. Hasn't just reached the tipping point of the scales yet.
Well, I think that it has to come pretty soon, because isn't national security like the Republican baby?
It was. I don't think it is anymore. Now it's all about tax cuts for the rich.
Oh, and getting rid of healthcare.
That's the entirety of their thing now, is tax cuts for the rich.
Which is such bullshit. I mean, I don't understand why people don't see through everything that they're trying to do, because we are one of the most lightly taxed nations in the world as far as industrialized countries go. So we're lightly taxed and we get nothing for the taxes that we do pay, except a bunch of corrupt motherfuckers that pad the nest. We don't get healthcare. We don't get leave for pregnancy or, for paternity leaves and all that. We get nothing. We don't get college. Our public education sucks. We graduate people that can't even put a sentence together, let alone think their way out of a wet paper bag.
The government has it very easy. They keep people busy. They keep people in a constant state of either entertainment or work. What else is left?
Well, remember, bread in the circus is what brought down Rome.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's a good long-term strategy, but short-term, to cover up your agenda and your misdeeds and everything, it's pretty effective.
Happens in the long term. What happens when people...
But they don't care about happens in the long term.
Because they're just making their money now at the expense of everybody else. Because was it Missouri that just cut the minimum wage?
I believe it was.
They didn't increase it, which is what the world needs. What the country needs at the moment is an increased minimum wage. They cut it. So it was $10 an hour, and they just cut it to $7.70.
On the assumption that it'll lead to more businesses, which will lead to more jobs, but they'll be low-paying jobs.
They'll be low-paying jobs. See, this is what really irritates the crap out of me when they start talking about labor.
But the price of everything else does not come down to go along with that.
No, it keeps going up, so therefore people can afford less. They have less money to spend on less things. And you have more people working in low-paying jobs where they can't afford anything extraneous outside of bills, and usually they forego a lot of things that they deem to be unnecessary. Like,
obviously, I don't know much about the internal political workings of, the state of Missouri, but you almost get the sense that someone benefited somewhere from that, politically speaking, economically, maybe.
But maybe the restaurant lobby is very powerful. And the restaurant lobby is what keeps a lot of the minimum wage stuff from happening, because they don't want McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, they don't want to pay people $10 an hour. Businesses don't want to pay for labor. An economist or a business person is looking at a flow chart for a business and the revenues, and they see that labor line, and it really is maybe one of the biggest expenses, perhaps. All they see is money. They don't see the humans behind the money, the people who earn those wages, who then go out into the community and spend those wages purchasing goods and services from local individuals, going on vacations.
They don't care about that.
Well, they should, because that's what fuels the economy. They pitched trickle-down economics to us in the 80s, and all it did was make the rich richer and the poor poorer.
Yeah, but that's what, since the rules are made by the wealthy in this lovely plutocracy, corporatocracy that we live in.
It only benefits them to a certain point, though, because eventually people run out of money.
Yeah, but they won't. That's the thing.
Well, they will if... No, you're right, because then they go and they invest in things like real estate and healthcare, which is what everybody needs to survive. It's disgusting watching the commoditization of healthcare.
Well, this is where I gotta hold Obama's ass to the fire a little bit. When he was first elected, he had the House and the Senate behind him, and rather than really push for a single-payer system, he caved and tried to make peace with the insurance companies. Worst mistake ever.
Yeah, because insurance companies have no place in healthcare. They have no place in healthcare. There is absolutely no reason why an insurance company should receive a red cent from healthcare. And it's disgusting for them to think that they have some reason why they're entitled to be a part of the healthcare debate at all. Because all they're doing is inflating prices. So you already have the high cost of doctors and hospitals and equipment and medications. And then on top of that, you're going to throw the fucking middleman in there, who all they do is shuffle paper. They provide no service. None.
Yeah, but don't forget, they're raping both sides, because they're raping the consumer of the health care. That's very true. But they also rape the hospitals and the doctors with malpractice insurance.
But then you have the third component of it, which is the litigation nation, where you have lawyers who want to go out and sue insurance companies.
Yeah.
We're the only westernized country that does not have socialized health insurance, health care. I can't even say the word insurance anymore. That needs to leave my vernacular in reference to this issue, because it should not be health insurance. It should be health care. It should just be health care. So if Hillary Clinton had been elected president, where would we be? We would be on the road to single-payer health care, probably, right?
Maybe. Whether or not that would be the case would be dependent upon who had control of the House and the Senate. If the Republicans were in control of those two bodies, there was not going to be any single-payer health care.
This is true, but she would at least veto the piece of shit they're putting together now.
That is true.
Where he's just going to sign it and pass it because, it's a win. We signed something, so something happened, so it's a win, regardless of, who it fucks in the long run. Grandma and grandpa are going to get kicked out of the nursing home because he gutted Medicaid.